What's up, podcast listeners? It's Andy. It's Drew. We're back with episode number 119 of the What's Up Casselberry podcast. Andy Searles, Drew Taylor, and our lovely and talented producer, Robin Koeppe, are Casselberry residents and friends who desire to have casual conversations on this podcast for the good of the people of Casselberry about Casselberry-related issues. Andy, Robin, I missed you guys last week. Lots of work and family. As of this recording, Andy, you've got some big news coming up in your family. Bethany is about to graduate high school, is she not? What's the deal? And tell us all about that.
Yeah, we are in graduation season in our family. Bethany graduates from high school. And so right now it's all the lasts. You know, she came home today and we record on Thursday. She said, "This is my last Thursday in high school ever." And so it's all the lasts. But the good news is these lasts at the moment will quickly turn into firsts as well as she starts a new season in life. But yeah, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be celebrating lots of different ways. We've got all kinds of family coming in town, and it's pretty exciting.
That is very exciting. As we're talking about graduations, as we're talking about celebrations, let's transition to our dad joke of the week because, Andy, I've got a good one for you.
Drew, just before you start this section, I want to give you some intro music if your joke is about celebration. You ready? Da, 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 da.
Woohoo! Celebrate good times. Come on.
Come on.
That's right. It's the dad joke of the week. All right, here we go, Andy. I've just got one dad joke for you and Robin. And Robin, since I got a laugh last time, listener, see if you like this one for us. If you do like a dad joke, or if you want to submit a dad joke, send it to Andy at our social media page. What's up, Casselberry? All right, here we go. Robin, graduations, I've found, are just very immature. You know why?
Why?
Graduations are just very immature because by the end of the graduation ceremony, it's just a bunch of name calling.
Oh, Robin. All right. Okay. Let me make sense of this section and redeem it with some funny jokes. Okay. These are the dumb jokes of the week.
What do you think, Pastor?
What was that?
It's not very pastoral to be mean to Drew.
No. Sometimes you got to deliver the truth, and it was delivered in love. I can't think of anything more caring. All right, here we go. Yesterday, a clown held a door open for me. I thought it was a really nice gesture. Okay. No, seriously, it's been a time of a lot of eating for me with graduation coming up. And this is so lame. This is the kind of joke you could tell, Drew. I decided to stop exercising and just learn Photoshop. Okay. All right. And the last one, I have a guy at work who claims he didn't steal the battery out of my calculator. But you know what? Something just doesn't add up.
I wish everyone could see the look on your face. You're just so proud of your delivery.
I am. I did get the delivery on that one. Yeah.
It is now time for your local update about things happening in your community. It is now time for Casselberry in the News.
Hey, here's a cool story for our Casselberry in the News segment. Andy, you and I ran into each other at the City Commission meeting last week, and that is not necessarily the news, right? We see each other around town.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I saw you.
I know, right? Yeah, wow. I couldn't believe the outfits we were wearing. Anyway, we wanted to break kind of an update on what's going on with the continued renovation of the Brightwater House, or what's known as the Casselberry House, there on kind of Queensmere and Lake Triplet. And there was an update regarding the status of the Brightwater House in Casselberry. Andy, I'll be completely candid with you. As you know, I left before they got to that business. So this segment, go ahead, my friend. Give us an update.
Yes, you left early to get changed once everyone saw what you were wearing. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, the update is that the commission approved the plans that were put together for that project. The plans have been through several evolutions as the city has been very diligent to receive lots of input from different people within our community. Also, as they were adopting the plans, they acknowledged that the price tag on developing that building and that park was going to be about $8 million. And at this time, they didn't have excess of $8 million. So really what they were doing, and I think this was really wise, they were saying, we want to adopt these plans because we put a lot of work into them. We got a lot of input, and we will just kind of keep them on the shelf until we're ready to pull the trigger and turn them into reality. So the update is that plans were approved, but the update is also that we're not going to be moving ahead just yet because we need to make sure we've got the funding mechanisms in place to do that. A couple of thoughts, Drew. I really appreciate the long-term thinking of our commission, that they're going to use the community input and not waste it. And I also really appreciate the financial responsibility that our city and our commission has. A significant part of the dollars that the city gets to spend comes from our taxes, and they want to be good stewards of those. They don't want us to put us in unnecessary debt. And I appreciate the prudence of our city commission to say, yes, this is a great idea. We love it. We can't wait, but we need to wait. And so we will wait until we can do it in a responsible way.
Absolutely. And that kind of continues to show the pattern and theme of our city, which is to build out and to improve, but to do so in a responsible manner. If you would like more information about Brightwater House and that project, you could reach out to us. We'd love to connect you with Deborah Bauer and some others on the historic Casselberry committee and organization that's recently started here. Speaking of being financially prudent, we will be back with our special guest, friend of the chamber, a friend of Casselberry, a friend of ours, Alia Fareed from Edward Jones. I want to tell you about our friends at Full Circle Real Estate and Management. Lynn Brecken is a dear friend of Andy and I's, and Lynn has been involved in the Casselberry community for many years. Lynn serves on the board as the treasurer for the Chamber of Commerce here in Casselberry. And professionally, her and her team at Full Circle Real Estate and Management work with buyers, sellers, and investors. They offer a full range of management services. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or have them perhaps help you manage the sale or purchase of a home, please reach out to Lynn and her team. Their website is myfullcirclerealestate.com. You can email Lynn at lynne@myfullcirclerealestate.com or give them a call at 407-921-3763. Lynn is a great person and will work to do everything she can to help you. Check them out, Full Circle Real Estate and Management.
We are excited to welcome you back to our favorite part of the show, listener. And we are also very, very excited to have with us a special guest, Alia Fareed, a financial whiz, a community dynamo, and one of our community's friendliest emerging leaders. Welcome to the show, Alia.
Thank you so much for having me and thinking about me to join you guys today. So thank you.
Well, I mean, everywhere we go, and I think the only place you haven't been in Casselberry is on the podcast. So we're excited to fix that. But as we begin, just for fun, we'd like to ask you a few icebreaker questions. And Drew, I'll jump in and go first, okay? If your life was a movie, what would its title be? And what actress would play you?
So first and foremost, I think Meryl Streep would have to play me. I think she can play just about anybody. So I think she's a great actress, and I would like her to be Alia Fareed. And I think, let's see, as far as a movie title, I know this is a show title, but this is kind of what I'm thinking. Fear Factor. I am definitely an adrenaline junkie. So I really thrive when I'm out of my comfort zone. I'd like to see Meryl Streep, jumping out of planes, bungee jumping, trying new foods. So that's where I'm kind of going with that.
I really like that answer. Alia, Meryl Streep she's kind of a boss lady too. I feel like you're very much in the same vein. If we were to have a Fear Factor Casselberry, you know our community pretty well. What would you say would be like some extreme stunt that would like maybe climb in the water tower or something?
Oh yeah, that would be a really good one actually. And I'm sure it's dangerous to go inside of one, but if anyone's seen the movie Aquamarine, they swim inside of one. I would definitely partake in that.
Oh, I like it. Drew, I've got all kind of fundraising ideas for some of the nonprofits we're involved in.
Yep.
I mean, I love the kickball tournament that the chamber hosts, but I mean, the water tower dive, man, it's got a ring to it.
This is next level. There we go. There we go. Well, hey, speaking of the kickball tournament, Alia, I got the privilege of, Andy and I both got the privilege of meeting your boyfriend, Nick, who played on the kickball team that you were a part of. You guys did great. I would say it was successful and that nobody got seriously hurt out there.
No, I think you're bringing up this question just because you want to say again that your team won.
Well, Willow Creek Church did well.
You guys were practicing and I put no effort into training. So you should have warned us that there was sessions every Saturday.
They had a 3-month boot camp in preparation. It was crazy.
That's right. It was we were hardcore, no doubt about it. But as Nick seemed like a very nice guy and he seems, I'm sure, very, very generous and treats you well. When you guys, when you go out to eat in and around town, what's a go-to date night spot?
So we love to eat. I think that's our favorite thing to do together. We also love Mediterranean food. So Papa Sobs in Casselberry, it's on 436. It is phenomenal. I feel like that's a daily or weekly part of our diet, to be quite fair. And then another one I wanted to mention that for any of the listeners that haven't had Indian food before, I am half Indian, so I would definitely recommend Memories of India. It's located in Lake Mary. It's a good kind of intro place. If you've never had Indian food, you can try a whole bunch of different dishes.
Nice. I like that. We had some great Indian places in England growing up, but I haven't been able to find one in Florida that had the same kind of curries and things like that. So we will try that out. In fact, Nick, if you're listening, you can take us all out. Would love that. Dinner on Nick. Dinner on Nick. Consider it done. Okay, final icebreaker question. So say that you were given a seat on the Casselberry Commission and someone donated $10 million to our city. What would you like to spend it on?
So I think coming from a financial services background, I would think about financial literacy in the community. I think it's really important. No matter what your background is, I think everyone can agree that we don't teach our kids at a young age how to balance a checkbook, checking and savings accounts, investing, what a stock is, what a bond is. And that really can shape the future and the foundation of our community. So I'd probably use a lot of my resources for that. My mother is also an elementary school teacher at Lake Orienta in Seminole County. So she's kind of instilled in me to be an educator. So I want to take my financial services background as well as education, kind of blend the two and serve the community.
I love that. That's a well thought out answer. It's clear you've put time and thought into to that question. And I hope you get the opportunity to spend some money and some time in those.
Give me $10 million, please.
Well, Alia, we'll talk about your involvement in the chamber in a minute, but you are making your way around Casselberry events. Andy and I have run into you at several of the events in the community, oftentimes at Lake Concord Park. Do you have a favorite event from either whether it be serving or just going as a citizen of the larger Seminole County community, and why? What do you enjoy about the different events that are offered here?
Yeah, so I am really involved in, I feel like, every single event. I don't know if I even sleep at this point, but that's just because I enjoy the city of Casselberry so much. I would say my favorite event to plan as well as partake in as just an event goer would be Food and Wine Festival. So that's hosted by the Casselberry Chamber of Commerce. Amazing drinks. The drinks are flowing. Amazing food from local restaurants. And they kind of get the option to get exposure for their business, which I think is amazing. So you get to try a whole bunch of different samples. And then I had the pleasure last year of planning the silent auction. And it was one of the most successful silent auctions. And we raised about $4,000. And all of the proceeds went back into the community. So that was a really rewarding experience. It was a lot of hard work to get a lot of donations in, but just seeing it all come together was honestly beautiful. And seeing the community all come together in Casselberry was excellent. I brought friends, family, clients, and no one had anything bad to say. Probably just more vendors next time or more drinks, even though both were flowing. So, and also I wanted to say it's in November. So that is good because the weather is beautiful. It's not your typical 90 degrees. It's usually pretty cooler. So that's another thing to add about why I like it so much.
Listener, one thing that Alia did not mention is that is a huge undertaking. I know my wife, Becky, Andy, your wife, Tracy, both been involved in specifically finding donors and sponsors and things for the silent auction. That's like almost a year-round gig to try to get good things to be donated for that. And so well done on that end. That's awesome.
Great event. I mean, I don't know where you put more vendors unless you kind of put them on some like floating stands in that lake right there or something. Maybe that's for another day. So you're involved in a food and wine event because of your involvement in the Chamber of Commerce, and you've been on the board there for a while and been involved in their work within Casselberry. As a participant employee of a local business, what's the gain for a business to be a part of the chamber?
So I think initially when people join the chamber, it's because they want to get exposure for their own business and kind of network, get new clients, customers. But once you kind of get that, there's so many other benefits that come with being a member of the Casselberry Chamber. I know this has been said before, but we are small, but we call the chamber small but mighty. So it's approachable, it's easy to make good connections, and then once you kind of make your friends and build your network, the knowledge that you can gain from other people in different sectors of the business community is amazing.
Alia, your dad has been very involved in the chamber for many years. Listeners, we had him. His name is Ari Farid, and he was on our podcast several episodes ago. You can go back and find that conversation. You have kind of, in a sense, picked up the family business a little bit, although I do want to hear your own story into getting to financial advising with Edward Jones. Tell us a little bit about that and being a financial advisor alongside your dad, and what are some pros and cons of even sharing some business space with him?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Obviously, since my dad is a financial advisor, I grew up kind of watching him lead in the community and help people. So I got exposure at a very, very young age, which kind of led me to explore that opportunity. As far as pros with working with Arif, he is a great business partner, and we oftentimes bounce ideas off of each other for client solutions and strategies. We are very good at separating our father-daughter relationship and our business relationship. So I feel like I call him Arif more than I actually call him dad, which can be weird for some people. They're like, wait, what? But it's also brought us a lot closer than we ever have been in the past. And then a con, and this could be a pro and a con, I'll let the listeners decide, but I do see my father every single day in the office. And maybe people aren't used to that. Once they kind of grow up, graduate college, get a job, they probably won't see their parents every day, but I do.
I would like to see your dad every day. Did you know that your dad and I share a birthday? Did you know that?
I did know that.
I think he's about 30 years older than me, but we share a birthday. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
and I hope he heard that too. But your dad is a hero of mine in lots of ways. What's one of the big lessons you've learned from your dad, who is both an established leader, in business and in our community?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think something that he says quite often that I take away and try to tell other people if they're struggling with this is you never know what someone else is going through. And I often think that we are so focused on our day-to-day life, we don't think about that other people have their 9 to 5 and their family struggles as well. It's kind of a little self-centered in a way. So just to kind of remind yourself that, you don't know what everyone's going through, and always be open and offer your resources because you never know when someone might need them. He has been a great connector and bridge builder in the community, and I want to do exactly the same thing. I want to be able to help people in the community, and if I'm not able to assist, I want to be able to connect them with someone who can help them.
Very well said. And you're practicing those principles. So you mentioned the word connection, and one connection that you and I share is that we are both Florida Gators. Tell the listener why the University of Florida is the best college ever, and what was your favorite experience from Gainesville? Any fun stories there?
Ooh, okay. I mean,
hang on. That is not how the question is worded in our show notes.
Okay, so I think, and the listeners can correct me, but I want to say we're like number 5 public schools. So that is amazing. It's just great to say that, hey, I went to a top 10 public school. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of stories that I can't share on the air, but I would say the restaurant scene is amazing. They have the best pizza by the slice, really good sushi. I mean, I said this before, but my favorite activity is eating. So you can't go wrong with visiting Gainesville.
Yeah, you're making me hungry. And I agree. There's several places that I can think of in those categories. Thanks for entertaining me in that. That was for me, not Andy at all.
So you're part of the women's networking group in our community as well. Why is it essential that you don't just learn business from your dad and your colleagues, but you also learn from other women leaders?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, being in financial services and being a woman in a male-dominated industry, I know how important it is to connect with peers who can relate to struggles that I may have specifically as a woman. And, you know, I want to be a resource for all women in the community. And I think representation in industries like mine is really, really important to connect with like-minded individuals. Also, times in history and society where women haven't been given the opportunity to be heard or valued in the business world. I want to be that person that can listen and empower other women leaders.
That's awesome. That's a really, really well said answer. Not only you being a woman, but also your faith plays a big role in the makeup of who you are and who your family is. Your family's, RF in particular, is a big part of the American Muslim Community Center there in Longwood. I know Andy and I have shared just with RF about different opportunities and how we can care for those citizens in need in our community. The American Muslim Community Center is very benevolent and generous. How has that experience and the faith that you hold kind of shaped you as a person?
Yeah, so one of the 5 pillars of Islam is zakat, which is donate 2.5% of your net worth to charity or to the needy. And I feel like that plays a big role in who I am. I'm always looking to give back because I think that while I help people with my job and I help people with the chamber, I may not be able to directly help certain individuals. And I do think that monetary donation can really benefit certain communities. And then the experience that has really stuck with me is the vaccines that we administered last year, kind of beginning of 2021 when they started rolling out. I was there almost every single Saturday for probably 4 to 5 months. And no matter where someone came from or what your skin color is or financial situation, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, everyone on our planet and everyone in our community was affected in some way by the pandemic and COVID-19. So I think it was really beautiful for the community to come together at a local mosque in Longwood and get the vaccine. You know, we didn't just want to give the vaccine to our Muslim community. We wanted to give it to anyone and everyone that was eligible and wanted to get the vaccine. So in that time frame, we administered about 3,000 vaccines, and I was really happy to be a part of that. We also tried to target specific demographic groups that might not be able to have easy access. So some people were without transportation, and we really tried to get them over to our mosque if they wanted to get the vaccine.
That was so great. And it was so very well run as well. Mm-hmm. I know that my wife, Tracy, got one of her shots there. And when we were waiting in line, with Nick's dad, Mike, as well. But talking of Nick leads an organization called Preemptive Love and a division of that called the Love Anyway class. And I think that's maybe where you and Nick kind of started to come together a little bit. But you and I took that class together along with some folks from around the country. What were some of the lessons that you learned about peacemaking in that class that have impacted how you lead in our local community?
This is a very good question. So thank you. A quote from Mother Teresa that I think everyone should know and continuously remind themselves because, especially in times of conflict and uncertainty within our country and globally, this is a really good quote to kind of go back to. So Mother Teresa said, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. So I'll say that again for the listeners. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And so I often remind myself that we do belong to each other because it can be so easily forgotten. And I don't want to be guilty of othering someone that has a different opinion or belief or ideology as me. So I know we all surround ourselves with people that are very similar to us, like-minded, come from the same background, and I'm guilty of this as well. But I also want to do the exact opposite. I want to be able to learn and grow from people that are exact opposite of me and very different and have different backgrounds and beliefs. So that is the first point that I wanted to make as far as what I really gathered from the Love Anyway workshops. The second thing is that the first step to peacemaking is listening. And I know I am very guilty of this, but I will be having a conversation with someone and they say something that I can kind of relate to. So I'll jump in and say, hey, I did that too, or I went there, but I'm not really listening to what they have to say. I'm just listening to respond. So the first act of peacemaking is listening to understand. And I think even in my day-to-day life as a financial advisor or with the Casselberry Chamber, I'm really trying to listen to my peers and understand where they're coming from.
That's very, very true. And it's real easy to get excited about how different and how much better our world would be if we just leaned into some of those simple but often difficult principles. We need to wrap up. Time is against us. But as we do, I want to thank you for your non-anxious, peaceful presence in our community. You bring peace to our community, but you also bring prosperity to our community as well by the businesses that you lead and the other ways that you serve in our community. As we wrap up, though, I would love for people to get to know you a little bit more. Could you give us some contact information, maybe where people can find you on social, those kind of things?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'll give my cell phone number out as well. You can give me a call, shoot me a text. I'm always open to grab coffee with anyone and just build an organic relationship. So my cell phone number is 407-687-5553.
That's great. That's brave and bold of you as well to give your cell phone number out. But thank you so much, Alia, for being with us today. We appreciate who you are. We appreciate what you do. And we certainly appreciate your time and contribution to our community.
Thank you so much.
Alia, thank you so much. It was a real joy to have her, Andy, on the podcast today. She is a younger lady, but is definitely full of wisdom and full of passion for Casselberry. And I'm excited to see how she continues to invest in the community. Andy, speaking of investments, we like to close out every episode giving some inspiration that people might invest that time, that quote, that last thought into bettering themselves for the week. So would you close us out with an inspirational quote?
You bet. We're all committed to investing in our community. We're all committed to investing in the things that matter to us. But unless we're investing in ourselves first, then we don't have much to give beyond ourselves. So our quote today, Drew, comes from Confucius, and it is not at all a confusing quote. In fact, it makes perfect sense. Confucius said this: "The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute, but the man who does not ask a question is a fool for life." Let me say that again. The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute, but the man who does not ask a question is a fool for life. Man, I have experienced that quote many times when I've been afraid to raise my hand because I didn't understand, or I've been afraid to ask the question because I think it would make me look like a fool. But I've found, as Confucius said, that it's best to ask questions to gather more learning and understanding, because when we learn and understand, we can set ourselves up for a bigger, brighter, bolder future. It's the one who doesn't ask the question, who doesn't push through that embarrassment, that ultimately is in danger of getting left behind. So today, listener, ask the question, move through your fear, push beyond embarrassment, and learn all you can so that you can become all you can.
Thank you, Andy. And thank you, listener, for joining us today for another episode of the What's Up Casselberry podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the content today. If you would like to connect with us, please do so on our Facebook, Instagram, or our website. Just type in What's Up Casselberry. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the podcast so you can make sure that you get each new episode in your inbox. We want to give a huge podcast shout out and thank you to our lovely and talented producer, Robin Koeppe, who keeps us on track, makes us sound better than we are, and brings some humor along the way.
If only she could make us look better than we are.
That's true. That's why I went no video today, listener. Just full confession. I'm in the dark here. Also want to shout out our co-host, Andy Searles. Andy, you are wonderful as well. Thank you, my friend, for doing this with me. We're 119 episodes in and looking forward to the future. So until next week, we hope that you have a fantastic week. God bless.